In today's fast paced world, the importance of mental health cannot be overstated. Time and again, across our series, we have touched upon the critical aspects of maintaining psychological well being. And today we dive deeper into this topic with a very special guest, Ranjita Raj. Ranjita is the founder of Mental Health Academy India and a dedicated mental health practitioner and holistic life skills trainer. With a passion born from her personal experience and a dual master's in life sciences, she has transformed knowledge into action, empowering over 3,500 lives through her work. Let us explore the insights and the impactful initiatives of MHAI designed to foster mental health resilience across both urban and rural India. Welcome, Ranjita, to Beyond Her Story.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I think we've done it multiple times, but every time I'm eager to hear more from you.
Same here. It's always nice talking to you and interacting with you.
Yeah, I think last time we spoke about, we focused mainly on holistic health during the
Yes.
Women's Day discussion that we had, conversation we had. So today maybe we'll focus more about mental health. So mental health is something that is spoken about a lot nowadays, and there's a lot of things happening in terms of awareness and all, right? But it also has a lot of misconceptions. So you being in this field for more than a decade, what are the common misconceptions that people have about mental health?
So first of all, the reason we have misconception is because of lack of awareness. So that is the reason we started bringing the awareness program first. So maybe people identify it as a sign of weakness. So that is why you have mental problem, or we even tend to see people look at me, how strong I am, because that is how it is perceived. Or when we talk about suicide, so when somebody dies of suicide, so the most common thing I've heard is telling he's a coward or she's a foolish person to do that. So there's a lot of shame associated with that. So biggest thing, the stigma because of which people are not seeking help. So these are few of the misconceptions because of which the help is not reaching.
Yeah. But do you see any improvement from where we were maybe around 5 to 6 years ago?
Yes, definitely. So it's a positive side as well.
Yeah.
So because now there are people who are actually coming out and talking about their struggle and how they overcome. So that is a positive side. But still, I would say when we are not supported by our family members, so our closed one, when they do not understand and when the help is not given at the right time, it leads to severe mental health issues.
Yeah, I think we've all seen that, like, when you have a physical illness, then we immediately go to the doctor.
Yes,
but
because
I think
that's something we can see. But when we talk about mental health, we cannot show it. Like if I want to tell you I have fever, you might even check. Okay, what is my temperature? But there is no measurement or a scale to say, okay, are you really mentally ill?
Yeah.
So many times people even say that when we talk about misconception, maybe he or she is just doing it to seek attention.
Yeah. But is there any way that you can actually figure out if a person is having mental health issue or it's just a passing phase, or is there any distinction?
So there's a lot of now studies. So I think we know that mental illness is real.
Yeah.
So there are different kinds of mental health issues. So again, when we talk about mental health, it's a spectrum.
Okay.
I cannot say because today I'm healthy that I will not. So if today I'm maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at 8. Maybe something happens or an event can bring me to 2 or 3. But the good news is that I can always work on it and then again come back. So it's a spectrum. You cannot tell that, okay, today I'm mentally healthy, so it's just like physical health.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, but people, I think the realization that they are at 2 doesn't happen, right? They feel, okay, it's a passing phase.
Because when we tend to talk to people, again, because of not having that awareness, we think it's okay, come on, come out, or we'll go out, you will be all right.
Yeah.
So that is a temporary band-aid that I'm trying to put.
Okay.
Again, the intention might be good when I talk to my friend, but there is something else that is required to do at that point of time. So maybe a movie, or maybe when I'm stressed, some sort of entertainment will help.
Yeah.
But not when you are undergoing something really serious or a mental health issue. So you really need some help.
When you have a physical illness, there are certain things you can do to, as a exercise, which will help you. Let's say you have a back pain, then there are certain things that you could do, right? Like physiotherapy and stuff like that. But for mental health, are there any exercises that can be done?
If you ask me a simple exercise, I would say two things. One is start your day with gratitude.
Okay.
Because what happens when you practice gratitude every day, you start looking at the positive side. And the second one is, what am I looking forward in a day? So
Yeah.
it gives me some hope. It gives me some, or I have a goal, so which I look forward to do it.
Yeah.
So that itself gives you a boost and you feel happy about it.
Yeah.
Because mostly we usually tend to complain a lot.
Yeah.
So we always see the negative side, or we take that more than
Yeah.
the positive. So when I practice gratitude, I'm looking for something that's positive that's there in my life. So that will change your the perception or the attitude towards your life. So I would say gratitude. And the third thing, we know that mind and body, it's not separate, it's all connected.
Connected,
So any form of exercise.
Okay.
So I would say again, it's a holistic. So we need enough sunlight, fresh air. So the exercise can actually help you both physically and mentally for your overall well-being.
Okay, I think starting a day with gratitude is very important, like you said, because the minute we wake up, we are like, what do we have today? What are the things I need to finish? Do I have the time? Oh, I'm supposed to call this person. I think
But I
that,
didn't do. The moment we start, we get into that negative spiral.
yeah, true.
So the idea when I'm looking for, okay, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So immediately your thought process or how you think or look at life also changes. Again, it's a practice. There has to be a consistency.
Correct,
I cannot
yeah.
say today I was grateful, but nothing happened.
Very true. Do affirmations also help?
Again, it's all about the belief that you have. So
Okay.
for some, I've heard they saying that affirmation work
Yes.
because it's an inner critic. If I'm continuously talking negative about myself, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable. I've seen people saying that changing the narrative or changing that
Yeah.
statement to positive, it does help.
Yeah. Now, as a part of your MHAI, you have something called nature therapy, right?
Yes.
So how important is it in today's world, and what are the things, or how does it benefit a person? How does nature therapy benefit a person?
So I think we do know, it's not a rocket science. I think we all know that maybe as a child, so how we used to climb trees and we are always connected to nature. And we also noticed we had less health issues, be it physical or mental. So the more we got disconnected from nature, we see that because we live in a concrete jungle, we are not exposed to fresh air or the green therapy, because just seeing that green, it's therapeutic. Or even any element of nature, even the water. So it can be anything, hike, you go on a trek, or you have a pet at home. So all these are part of ecotherapy. So ecotherapy is not just I'm seeing something green or I just go to a park. Definitely, even that helps. So the more we've disconnected from nature, so we have noticed that the mental health concerns or physical health, it's on rise.
Okay.
So I remember as a child, my mother always used to tell me, so you touch the soil, you'll never get any disease.
Yeah,
it's so true. Today we are seeing forest bathing, nature walk, and all of this. What are we doing? They are telling do gardening. Again, we are touching soil, walk barefoot. And we have seen that in ancient times, people used to walk barefoot. So we have, it's a science. There's a science that how the electrons or whatever.
Grounding, that's what
grounding
they call it.
And all of that. So I think people already had that knowledge. Now we are forced to read and then get the benefit out of it. But it's freely available. So I would say the more and more we connect to nature, the lesser is a problem. So at least related to stress and that which leads to mental illness. Of course, when there is something to do with genetics and all of that, we cannot control everything. But at least we can try to prevent as much as possible.
Very true. So when you say ecotherapy, can you list a few things that come under this?
Yeah, so there is adventure therapy.
Okay.
So there is pet therapy. When I talk about adventure therapy, it's all about like you trek and do something adventurous. Again, it's all outdoor.
Okay.
So now there is something called indoor also, where people do not have space. Maybe you have your own balcony garden or you have an aquarium.
Okay.
That is also part of that. So where we cannot give any excuse anymore that I don't have space. So we can even, so the joy of you sowing a seed and then you see that growing, that also gives
it's a kind
sense
of therapy.
Okay. It's very therapeutic.
Are there, since we spoke about mental health, are there any early signs of mental health issues that people can notice and, at least start thinking about going to a person or counseling and things like that?
Yes, I would say mood swings. When I know that I'm irritable, or for very small things, it starts irritation, or I have frustration. So that is something to do with your moods.
Okay.
And also when it comes to your gut. So when you feel that I have indigestion problems, so again, not all gut issues are related to mental health, but if you see, whenever we are stressed, the first thing that we notice is our gut.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some constipation issue or anything.
Correct.
So the gut health. So that also is one of the indicator that may be something that I have to pay attention to. Another thing is or change in appetite. Sometimes we end up eating also more.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So depending on what problem and event that happened in my life, important thing is sleep pattern.
Okay.
Because it affects your cognition, your thinking ability, your memory, your focus. So again, I end up making wrong decisions,
Yeah.
and all of this, which again leads, it's a cycle.
Correct.
So anything that affects your sleep, appetite, your mood, so even though it is subtle or simple, it is an indicator that I need to pay attention to something.
Yeah, very true. I think sleep, of course, I think we've all seen that like you said, any event happens, you're not able to sleep properly, which itself means there is, okay. And I think in our discussion, we spoke about how, people associate mental health with stigma. So breaking mental health stigma, how does it actually help individuals?
So I would say the more and more we bring awareness to people, so more people will go and seek help. Because right now there is a lot of misconception, myth about mental health issues. So not many people who actually need help are not coming out and speaking because it is associated with shame or a sign of weakness. So once we bring awareness, and if I can freely talk, let's take an example of a workplace. Now that I'm going through some mental health issues, but I do not go and tell my boss that I need some break or leave. Because if I have fractured my hand, it's very easy. I can show it. Look,
doctors said
I have a medical certificate, so give me leave.
True.
But even if I have the awareness, it's okay to have mental health issues and I can work on it. But I do not know if they have the same level of understanding. So I might be thinking that if I say my promotion will get affected, or people might label me, how is it going to affect my work? What will happen to my family if I lose my job? So there's a lot of fear also in that. So the more we try to break the stigma and bring in that awareness, so people are aware and they'll help and support each other. So there is more of understanding. Now, when I push myself to work, when I'm struggling, my productivity goes down, my efficiency and all of that. And at some point, we are questioned at work. So you are not performing, or there is something, and then we do not know what to do. Again, we get into panic, anxiety. Now, what will happen? Cycle.
Yeah.
So, and if we take maybe a home environment, now if I'm getting irritated, and I know I have mental health issues, but I cannot take, I have responsibility of my spouse, my parents, my in-laws, or a child. So I might be, showing anger, which is again affecting my relationship. Or I might be thinking they are not understanding me, because they will tell, okay, how long? For a month you want to sleep because you have some mental health issues. So people do not accept it so easily. So, but once you bring awareness, it's easy for the family members to understand, okay, someone in my family is going through certain issues. So
they need the support. So I think we spoke about organizations because that we see is very prevalent in terms of, stress environments and of course family. But I think even children today, handle a lot of pressure because of peer pressure, competition, the stress of, being noticed, attention, all that. So do you see more schools also coming out to have these awareness programs?
Yes, we have schools and organizations contacting us for mental health awareness programs and also life skills.
Okay.
So how I look at life skills is as a preventive measure.
Okay.
Because we all had physical education. So any child you go and ask, they'll tell to be healthy, you have to exercise.
Correct. Yeah.
So now if we can make that as a mandatory, even the life skills training. So what do we learn in life skills is again about self-awareness. We start with that, management of emotion, decision-making, problem-solving, all of this, how to handle peer pressure, How do I take criticism? How do I give? So all these decision making, problem solving. So what happens is that when now I face some problem, now I already have the skills or tools to deal with these challenges. So what happens if I'm now looking as an adult? Probably management is required. But if I know as a child, there is always a preventive
Correct.
method or
Yeah.
tools that we have. So that is where life skills plays a very important role. And I'm very happy that more and more schools are now making it a part of their curriculum.
Yeah.
So it's a good news
Yeah.
that way.
And what about corporates? Do they also have awareness sessions,
Yes, now-
especially for
Mental health.
yeah,
Yes.
mental health.
So how do you identify the early signs and symptoms? So then it becomes easy for them to help everyone in the organization or support, and they're very open about for counseling. It's okay for us to many I think organization, they have made it a mandatory as their policy and everything. It's
Very
changing.
nice.
So it is slow, but then I think it's definitely
At
changing.
least it's going somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ranjita, I think we spoke about preventive measures which children can do, learning life skills, right?
Yes.
But we as adults, how do we go through this process? Because we have already come to a stage where we have not learned some of the life skills. So
Yes.
is there a way?
Definitely, we do programs for adults as well, life skills training.
Okay.
So, for example, if you talk about self-awareness, so now at workplace we have seen in corporates we do SWOT analysis to know,
Correct.
identify our strengths, weakness. The whole idea is there. We are focusing mainly towards our work.
Okay.
So, what I'm good at,
Correct.
what is that area that I can improve. So all of this. So if I can use that for business, so we give many tools which can be used in your personal life as well.
Okay.
So there's something called Johari window. Again, I'm not getting into the technicality of it. So I know what are my blind spots or what area of my life is actually causing this problem.
Okay.
Or is it there is some issue with my management of my emotions. So since we cover all these things, it's equally important for adults also to have these skills
Yeah.
and tools to navigate in our life.
Okay.
So any challenges that we come, at least we don't get into the crisis immediately. I try to solve, I try to resolve. And if nothing works, we also know that, okay, this needs some attention.
Yeah.
Maybe today I have fever, I might not go today. It's a good thing to go just to have a checkup. But if tomorrow I know if it is not
Yeah.
reduced, then I'll go to a
Correct.
doctor. It's the same with mental health. So at least I build resilience as well. So I know that small challenges cannot affect to my life. Otherwise, every small problem, if it's going to create that emotion in me, where I become like, I cannot work today, there's no mood. So it's going to affect my quality of my life.
Okay.
So that is where life skill acts as a preventive measure.
For
to help
everyone.
us. Yeah, everyone.
Not just children.
Yes.
Ranjita, you are the founder of MHAI. So you're a mental health expert and you have a lot of things which you offer. So maybe if you can let us know, like, what are the things that people can come to you to for? I think other than mental health, you have other things too. So if you can just give us an idea.
So we do a lot of training and workshops related to mental health, suicide prevention, and self-harm. So other than training, of course, as I mentioned earlier, life skills training for both kids as well as adults.
Yeah.
So we do that, and we do provide counseling services.
Okay.
We do something called holistic health training.
Okay.
So again, when we talk about our awareness programs that we do, so we do both for rural and urban.
Okay.
So related to mental health and holistic well-being. We also conduct retreats. Maybe I can call it as a healing holiday. So
Okay.
where you actually, we integrate ecotherapy, music therapy, and other healing modalities.
Okay.
So basically, you take a break, you're away from the city and, be in that nature. So you feel recharged, and we all need that break. So we do come up with very creative workshops and activities. And we also conduct free events like support group and human books, where we it's like a theme base. So we have certain issues that we want to discuss in a support group where people help each other and support each other. It's mostly like a group session.
Okay.
And we have human books, which is a very interesting concept where people share their life experiences.
Okay.
So I think we all can learn from others' life experiences. And again, it is in the format storytelling. So we all love stories and
true.
life experiences. So we do a lot of workshops in both corporates and institutions or schools.
Schools and colleges.
Yeah.
Okay. and of course the life skills for communication.
Yes, all the
everything,
soft
right?
skill training for corporates
Yeah.
as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's good to know. And I think what we can do is we can leave the link to your website in the
Okay.
description, and if people have any inquiries, they can definitely reach
Definitely
out
can
to
reach
you.
out to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this has been an amazing conversation, Ranjita. Last time we focused, like I said, we focused only on holistic health, and
Yes.
this time we've spoken only about mental
Mental.
health, which is, like I say, like you said before, also it's physical, mental. If you have everything in place, then I think nobody can stop us, right?
Yeah, you can have a fulfilling life, I would
Correct.
say.
Yeah. And I think the tools are the much needed tools
Yes.
to handle everything. Yeah.
Definitely.
So thank you. I think it's been a very informative, insightful conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Sneha. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you.